All right. Thank you so much for attending today's session. I'm here with Kim Green. She is a senior research compliance coordinator and animal activity liaison in the Texas A&M University Animal Welfare Office, which supports the Institutional Animal Care and Use Committee, or IACUC. With over 20 years of laboratory animal experience, Kim has a deep background in research and compliance, including her work developing the university's Animal Welfare Post-Approval Monitoring, or PAM program, from the ground up. She holds a Bachelor of Science in Animal Science from Texas A&M and is a certified professional IACUC administrator, or CPIA. Most recently, Kim has been at the forefront in pioneering AI solutions for Texas A&M research community, IACUC members, and a support staff. Her work focuses on transitioning from ad hoc AI use to the creation of governed, reusable workflows that maintain institutional security while drastically reducing administrative burden. Let's hear from Kim Green on her amazing work today. Go
Hi,
ahead, Kim.
everyone. Thanks for coming today. I did change the title of my presentation just a little bit because I wanted to talk mostly about agents. Anyway, today we're going to be discussing a critical operational shift for me in my office. We're moving away from ad hoc one-off AI chats for university business to more reusable, governed workflows using agentic AI. Our objective is to move beyond simple speed and build systems that are defensible, compliant, and can be integrated into university operations. Okay, so we all know using AI at Texas A&M, every solution used for university business must exist within the TAMU AI framework. We prioritize security first by staying behind the university firewall and using our NetID logins, never our personal accounts. And every workflow must align with the Texas A&M AI guidance and ethics. And most importantly, we must always maintain a human in the loop. AI is pretty much a drafting assistant. It's not an authority. Final approvals always rest with people, committees, departmental leadership, just subject matter experts. It should never be just the AI. Okay, so let me give you a little background about what the Animal Welfare Office and other research compliant units under the research compliance and biosafety do. We each basically have a committee that accepts protocols from researchers. There's animal welfare compliance, there's biosafety compliance, and there's human subjects compliance. And each of those compliance units has a committee, and the committee accepts protocols. The support staff like pre-reviews protocols, gets it ready, and then those protocols are assigned to the committees for review with the intention of approving them before research begins. So my first AI agent project began as a search for a more efficient way to review research protocols for compliance with both federal regulations and university guidelines. And while individual AI prompts and even like Google Notebook were very useful at first, I was pleased with the results I was getting, but I soon hit like some technical limits regarding the volume of attachments I could put in and the ability to share those things widely with other people. So this eventually led me to create a protocol agent, which can convert a protocol draft, a researcher, the ideas they could put in their grant summary or something like that, and the AI give them some paste-ready text grounded in our institutional policies and regulations, and come up with some text that they can actually put into the protocol that is submitted to our office. So the idea is for, raw input goes into the agent. The agent acts as a orchestrator, and it even I you give the agent instructions that allow some mode gating, and I'll tell you what that means in a little bit. And then for the knowledge base of the agent, instead of trying to upload several different documents straight to the agent, I connected it to a SharePoint library. And in the SharePoint library, you can control more easily, like versioning and version history, keep track of documents that way. And you can also put a lot more in there. Now, I know Google Notebook can take a lot of, I think it's like 50 documents. But if you're connecting to a SharePoint library, I mean, you, I can put the whole like regulations in there. I can put drug formularies in there. I can, it just takes so much. So I just provided a link to a SharePoint library as my knowledge base. And it would come out with suggested text for for researchers to put in their protocols. I mean, it's great. It's easy for us to use that kind of thing to review protocols too. That we receive a protocol, we use AI to help search for any problems, anything that's not compliant with regulations. I'll talk about transition support in a later slide. We're going to be going to a new protocol submission system soon. So we'll get to that. And then on the other end, as I said, the our staff reviews all the protocols that come in before they get assigned to the committee, and then the committee reviews it before it's approved. So AI is never has the final say in this process. Okay, so in addition to wanting a protocol drafting or reviewing agent, like I said, we are currently about to transition from a legacy protocol system to a new one. And to manage this, I developed a second agent that serves as a conceptual bridge, um, helping support our staff who are learning to use this new system, but also hopefully it can support the compliance committees as well as researchers who need to submit in the system, and help them map data across the different systems. So whereas in the current system, this information goes here in the protocol, over here in this system, it goes here. So part of the knowledge base for this agent was the very significant amount of navigation instructions from the company that created that submission system. I mean, it really daunting for our staff to look at this big, huge stack of instructions. And yes, we could just as easily, I guess, thumb through the instructions and find our way to where we need to be. But these instructions are in this agent, and someone can say, I've got this information. Where does it go in this protocol? And the agent tells them where to go and how to get there. And I gave it instructions to just give one step at a time. So people aren't overwhelmed with this big page full of instructions that the agent spits out. It gives them the first step, they complete that step, and then they say, okay, I'm ready to go on. And if they're not where they're supposed to be, the agent can help them find where they're supposed to be. So The guardrail on this one is that the agent has to understand the difference between PIs and researchers who should right now be using the legacy system, because that's the current system to submit protocols, and still allowing our staff to access the new system so we can do testing. And so the agent has instructions to understand that it has to understand the role of the user. And if it doesn't get it just from context of what the user asks, it will ask the question, are you a PI or are you staff? All right. So later on, I realized that that protocol drafting system and the navigation agents, although they had different goals, they could be connected and work together. So this required that one of the agents be a primary orchestrator with a central set of instructions that would guide the AI um, uh, on which task to prioritize based on the user's role. So the orchestrator will either take on the drafting help depending on what the user needs to do, or it will pass over control to the navigation, the new system agent, for it to guide users through the new system. And because our new submission system is still in a testing phase, the orchestrator has what's called mode gating to keep researchers in the legacy system, and it's just instructions to the agent uh, that says, okay, if it's in PI mode, you need to direct them to the legacy system, and if it's in staff mode, they can access the new system if they want. And one final another restriction I put in this is that so I did have the ability to put in a full protocol when I was using just a regular, one-off AI prompting or Google Notebook. You can put a whole protocol in there and ask the AI to compare it to all the guidance and give you tips or give you a list of problems. But it makes sense too, giving it that much data. These protocols can get really big, and giving AI that much data just allows more opportunity for mistakes. And so I put in instructions to limit the user to just working on one section at a time. And if they try to put in the whole protocol, or if they try to ask for help with more than one section at a time, the agent will respond, I can only do one section at a time. Pick which one you want to do, and let's work through that before we go to the next section. So that just kind of helps limit mistakes, hopefully. Okay, so this primary orchestrator blueprint, it shows the logic gate that I was talking about. The agent defaults, it's always in default PI mode. Um, and uh, and a staff, I can easily tell our staff, if you want to put it in staff mode, just type in staff mode. But it will ask questions of the user if it's not clear. So navigation for the new system is strictly gated and only becomes accessible if the user explicitly says staff mode. This prevents user confusion and ensures that the instructions remain relevant to the currently active system. And there's the instruction in number 4. That's the instruction I gave the AI, is to default to PI mode. And do not provide navigation or mapping for the new system unless staff mode is explicitly given. And they can switch back to PI mode. And when the new system goes live, I can change the instructions. Okay, I like this part. So the versatility of this protocol drafting agent model could also be used for a task we'll all face very soon, and that's the annual performance review cycle. I included this addition today in my talk at the last minute to show how the same agent logic used for the drafting protocols can be adapted to streamline our upcoming evaluations and ensure that they're grounded in the Texas A&M HR standards. And by applying the same agent architecture that I use for protocol drafting, I created this performance review assistant, and it's grounded in the Texas A&M HR performance review knowledge database. So I set up a SharePoint library. I went and grabbed all the most recent information and tools and forms from the HR website, the performance review website, and I put them in the SharePoint library, and I pointed the agent to the SharePoint library. I also created a template for collecting raw uh, performance data on yourself. It kind of maps to your performance, not your performance, to your position description in Workday. So I created a template that people could use to you still have to collect that data. It doesn't get you out of collecting data on the things that you do throughout the year to prove that you're doing your job. But there you can collect the data that maps back to your position description and use it as input for this agent. And so the agent takes the your annual activity log, it takes your position description, and it takes those university competencies and core values in that self-evaluation form, and it maps, it suggests uh, uh, your your ratings, and it gives you a defense, like something to put in there to justify your rating. It's really handy. So this blueprint forces the AI into a linear sequence. It suggests rating based solely on provided evidence. Then it drafts supporting comments and performs a baseline comparison against your job description. And this ensures that every rating that it gives is supported by a defensible comparative analysis. It'll even do the core RELIS values. All right. So AI agents, I'm becoming a really big fan. They're really good, reusable, and scalable tools that take us away from risky one-off file uploads and AI chats to an infrastructure with a controlled knowledge base uh, and an AI agent at the core. This creates a secure, version controlled repository that we can update annually or as needed as our forms are updated, ensuring that the AI always operates from the most current institutional truth. So our governed workflows follow this four-step anatomy. You've got raw work is standardized through structured data. It's kind of like a filter. It's processed by an agent that's got guardrails, and it finally passes through a mandatory human judgment. So as you think about building your own agent toolkit, remember to start small with a high friction administrative but low risk task. Add guardrails through agent instructions with mode gating, shared prompt libraries, and a good controlled knowledge base. Shift your mindset away from viewing AI as a glorified search engine to seeing it as a programmable orchestrator. Our goal is to structure the input, govern the engine, and empower the human. And that's all I have for you.